Welcome to the Blonde Runner podcast with Coach Laura Erickson, where she shares her healthy living tips as a running and triathlon coach and mother of 4.
Coach Laura Erickson with blonderunner.com. I did want to cover one of the questions that I get often, and that is how to breathe when you're running. So honestly, in the 30 years I've run, I really don't think much about my breathing. I just let it happen, how it's going to happen. And if I'm out of breath, I'm running hard, which is good. I want to be doing that. But one thing that concerns me when people talk, especially beginners, talk about breathing while running, there's a lot of people that give advice to breathe in your nose and out your mouth. But honestly, you're not going to get enough breath doing that. You're going to be out of breath. So in your nose and out your mouth is really not something I would recommend. I breathe in my nose and mouth the whole time. And I really don't concern myself a lot with my breathing. The concerns I have with breathing with people are if they're asthmatic. A lot of people with asthma choose to run and they can completely run and do fine. But a lot of people I work with are beginner runners, and they maybe didn't start till they were in their adult years and they've never had a problem with asthma, but they develop or they have athletic-induced asthma they don't know they have until they start running. And so when you're running and you're out of breath, that's one thing. But if you're wheezing, that kind of breathing, then you may have asthma, and that might be something you want to talk to your doctor about. A lot of people, again, do run with asthma, so that shouldn't be a problem, but making sure that it's treated. I know a lot of people that have asthma that run that are on medications, and to take care of that, that's better, some medications that you're on, than just to have the albuterol and deal with it as a Band-Aid. So if you do plan on running, I suggest taking that medication regularly and not just doing the inhaler only. If you are a beginner runner and you're just completely out of breath a lot, slow the pace down, especially if you want to go a little bit longer. That's another thing. If you're running intervals at the track, you should be out of breath. That's a good thing. Usually you have breaks between those intervals. Catch your breath again. So until next time, live well.
Recorded quite a few years ago on running and breathing, and I did want to add some additional advice to this. I had several comments on my YouTube on this, and I wanted to address those. One of them mentioned taking deep breaths at the beginning of their run, and I think that's very useful. I think when we start running, sometimes we get a little panicky and then we don't breathe. We breathe very shallowly or on the top of our lungs. That's what I like to say. So I encourage you to slow your breathing when you first start running, and it's more than taking deep breaths, it's more expelling the air. Sometimes when we get panicky, we hold our breath, and so we don't expel the air completely and then breathe deeply in. Another thing I wanted to add is you can practice your deep breathing or belly breathing outside of running. That will help you have better lung capacity, and you have to work that diaphragm. It's a muscle as well. So working that diaphragm, doing breathing exercises outside of running will help you when you're running. One thing I like to do is called box breathing. I often do this before I go to bed, but it's a way to control your breathing. So you're breathing in 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, and then hold that for 4 seconds, and then continue. Do a minute or two of these, and it really calms you down. So that expelling of the air really helps. And then allowing yourself to calm down, be patient, and then breathe. Just allow yourself to breathe. That will help. So those are some things I wanted to add. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to message me. I'd love to help you, and feel free to check out any of my other YouTube videos I have on the Blonde Runner channel. And until next time, live well. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. Be sure and check the show notes for resources or links that we mentioned in the show. You can also find them on my website at blonderunner.com. blonderunner.com. You can also find me on Instagram at The Blonde Runner with an E, and Coach Laura Erickson, and that's Lora. Before you forget, I hope that you will follow this podcast and like it so you don't miss an episode. Also, it really helps if you leave a review so other people can find it, and share it with your friends. Until next time, live well.